not a little. There's like the fast muscle cars, the faster muscle cars. There's the supercars, then the hyper cars. I'm taking a big way for.
All right, welcome everyone. So today we are having a presentation from Highgate Senior Living. Shelley has joined us to give a discussion on positive approaches to care. I am Tiffany Ferguson, your host for today, and this is our January 2021 in service. I wanted to give an initial announcement. So we did new offices this year. So I would like to welcome Autumn Jarumbo from the Peaks, who is our new president and chair for the year. Autumn, do you want to say anything or welcome?
Just thank you, Tiffany, for that introduction. And I'm really happy to be here and happy to answer any questions in the community for anybody who has them.
And so, Shelley, I will let you introduce yourself and take it away for the group. If you have any questions during the presentation, what I would ask is actually just put it into the chat box down below. And that way we can call on you because there's a lot of people on. That way there isn't anyone interrupting and we can see, and then I can kind of raise hands or highlight to Shelley if we have a question, and I'll interrupt and read the question to the group. Also at the end, I'm going to try a new function. Autumn did this successfully last meeting, and I'm going to try it as well, which is putting in our poll questions at the end of the meeting. So you'll see something pop up at the end, which is a poll. It'll ask you 3 questions just to, is this a good time? Just some logistics so we know that we're helping everyone. And if you could just fill that out before you end the meeting. All right. Thank you guys. And Shelley, it's all yours.
Fantastic. Let me know if you have a problem hearing me. Autumn, congratulations on 2021. That's super exciting for you, I'm sure. Okay, so my name is Shelley Phoenix. That is my last name. A lot of people are like, really? So it is Shelley Phoenix. I have been in senior health care for about 25 years. Highgate has become my passion because their approach to care, and that's what I'm going to be talking about today. I will share with you that I do not enjoy just talking at people. I really enjoy the conversation. Josh and I both know that with Highgate, everything we do is a discussion. So please, anything you want to know, even if it sounds like it's an odd question or that, you know, I don't think that sounds right, just throw it out there because we're very transparent. So positive approach to care, that's what I want to talk about. It's a TIPA SNOW approach. Autumn's shaking her head because I'm sure that she's heard of it. It's just a way of interacting with people with memory impairments. What I like most about the positive approach to care is it's exactly that. It's a very positive approach. I do not believe, and Highgate does not believe, that dementia carries behaviors. Often when we enter a community, we take a lot of pride in meeting with the hospital ERs, with the civil servants, and talking about how to approach someone with memory impairments. And a lot of times I will hear in the ER, oh gosh, someone with dementia, they often have behaviors. And I'm like, really? Behaviors? Can you tell me how you approach them? Because do you understand that they lose their peripheral vision? Do you understand that their sense of touch becomes heightened? So when you come to someone from the side, they cannot see you coming at them, and you say, Josh, how you doing? They're going to jump and probably react by swinging at you. So positive approach teaches us how to come up forward to someone. Hi, it's Shelley, and interact appropriately with them. Now, I am not a PAC certified trainer. So what I'm going to give you is just a sneak peek. And like I said, what I hope we do is have a really strong discussion, okay? What I can tell you is that we do have many PAC trainers in our organization. So if you ever want to get certified, I think it's the Peaks that does the VDTs. We also offer the virtual dementia training, and we also offer PAC certification that has CEUs carried with that. So that would be my takeaway. I'm just going to give you a sneak peek to a positive approach to care. But if you would want to know the actual, go through the training, it's about a 2 to 3 day training, then I can get you signed on for that. And again, the CEUs are offered. So we've talked about a couple of things. We've talked about the approach. Along with positive approach to care, we also are very holistic. You're going to find once you enter our cottage, which is our memory care neighborhood, you're going to smell diffusers. You're going to see a spa. You're going to notice that all of our care partners carry with them a Highgate signature lotion and spritzer. So what I mean by all of this is that with positive approach to care, it is how you interact with the person. There's a lot of, you get to know them so well that you know when you approach them, is Josh left-handed or right-handed? Because that's going to impact how I reach out to him, because I want him to have his dominant hand on top of my hand. There's a sense of security. There's an exercise that we do when we talk about positive approach that that you will find instinctually that if you're in a situation you're not comfortable with, say you're walking down a dark alley or you're walking through a parking garage at night to go get to your car and someone's approaching, you will instinctually put your dominant side forward. It's a very neat exercise. I'm left-handed, and I did. During the exercise, I went totally to offer my left side. It was dominant. So we get to know our residents very well. So when we know that when we approach them, are they left-handed? Are they right-handed? So when I extend my hand, again, I'm under, they're on top, and their dominant hand's on top. So they have a sense that they're in control, and I'm relinquishing that. I'm saying you are in control. And then once you have what we call this hand under hand approach, you can guide and walk somebody by just gentle pumps. You know, if you're trying to walk someone into the dining area or back to their room, again, with a hand under hand approach, you're gently guiding them. And maybe with a pump action, you're cueing them, let's sit down. So it's just a very unique way to communicate with someone that may be nonverbal. I cannot see, Tiffany, by the way, the chat box. So I'm assuming that there's a question that you'll kind of do the Hail Mary. Okay.
Yes. Yep. I'll let you know.
Just making sure. Would you mix positive approach to care with holistic? It's a truly very unique experience. Okay, so I'm a storyteller. Like I said, I've been doing this about 25 years now. I remember that a lady, we moved into the cottage one time. She was very anxious, very upset with her daughter because she was forcing this move. It was a bad thing. It was, I can't believe you're doing this to me. I watched my care team approach her, and we have in our kitchen, we keep a crock pot full of warm washcloths that have lavender on them. And I watched this care partner walk over to this crock pot, grab one of the towels out, and then gently just started massaging her hand, kind of put it on her face, around her neck, and her whole mood changed. She was like, oh, that's nice. And the care partner engaged her and told her that, what we were going to do next, that we were going to have tea, that there were some sandwiches being offered, and her whole demeanor just changed. Those very subtles, using the essential oil of lavender, using the warm towel, and the approach that how she came to her in full vision, not from the side, using gentle conversation. You'll also learn how to use pronouns. It's very interesting that, someone that's going through memory impairments, they struggle to hold on to what they can because they're aware that they're losing things. So that's why you often hear about mom's hoarding. Mom won't let go. Mom won't change her clothes. It's because she's losing so much, she's going to hold on to what she can. So it's interesting too that we teach pronouns. We talk about, instead of going up and saying, Tiffany, it's Shelley. Tiffany, how are you? And then automatically she, in her mind, who is this? Who is Shelley? Why is she here? If I go up and say, Tiffany, how are you? It's me. We talked yesterday. And just kind of not throw anything extra into her realm, any words of like Shelley and this or that, and kind of give her a reference. It truly does help her to understand that this is okay. I've talked to her before, and it's gonna be a good conversation. So going back to the warm towel, again, it changed her whole experience. She went from anxiety to I am calm, I want to engage, and I'm in a good place. We often have the diffusers going on in every section of our memory care. Citrus is for appetite. You will find, I often ask families whenever they say, I just don't know where mom's at in memory care. I don't know, how her cognition is. Josh and I will ask questions. When you go out to eat, does she order what you're having? Does she order the special? It's because the menu may become confusing to her. So with positive approach to care, we even apply that to our dining services. We don't overwhelm with choices of, oh, do you want fish today? Do you want this today? Do you want a salad today? We have family style dining to where they can see the food and they can understand, does this look visually appealing? And we have small meals throughout the day instead of big meals. So you're constantly offering the nutrition, the hydration, because that goes hand in hand with good health. So it's just those little tweaks in your approach to care. It's just gonna change. It's a game changer, like I said, and it's a 3-day workshop, and I'm just giving you the highlights. So any questions at all before I feel like I'm just talking like a crazy woman, which I do a lot. Okay. I can go into rhyme. Most dementia, it's taught that the left side is more affected. So the right side is where the rhythm is at. We call it rhyming. You'll hear a lot of time with positive approach to care that we will hum or we will sing to the resident when communication becomes difficult. I've often sing, the birthday tune is the easiest one. Hey, Josh, how are you today? You just that rhythm makes them feel good. They understand the rhythm of the words, and it becomes easier to communicate with someone with a deeper set of dementia. We do offer the spa experience. Again, this is part of the positive approach and the holistic approach. We all know, Autumn can tell you that depression and anxiety is the top diagnoses once someone has dementia, and that just makes sense. So a lot of times we have what we call a spa experience where we bring people into an environment where the diffusers are going, maybe a nice glass of tea is offered, and they have a hydration spa. Or even, I told you before that we're holistic. Holistic involves love and touch. It never stops to astound me that people that have major illnesses, Alzheimer's, dementia, cancer, anything like that, people forget to touch, to love. So it's not uncommon at all for Josh and I to go into our memory care at Highgate and someone come up to us and want to hold our hand, and that's okay. We'll take the tour with you. We'll walk someone through with you, because touch is extremely important. It makes us feel human. I can tell you on my worst day, if my grandchild comes up to me and hugs me, I've just had my best day. So again, that approach to care, just that touch is very, very important. Getting to know the person is another positive approach to care. It's very impactful that it's very hard when a family member comes up and they're in the late stages of dementia. We call it the pearl stage. Teepa Snow teaches that you categorize stages of dementia by gemstones. Sapphire is the true blue. It's a healthy brain. Most of us are probably sapphires. We talk about diamonds. They're clear and they're sharp, but they have many facets about them. And it goes on, emerald, amber, ruby, but pearl stage is a deeper stage of dementia. So a lot of times when we have someone in the pearl stage, that's where you see those quote unquote behaviors. But you know, you have to understand, and this is what we try to tell families, don't look at memory care in the final stages, because then we don't get to know the person. We don't get to know what you all are here for, and that's to advocate for the senior population. You know, if I can get to know you in the early sets of dementia, I can know your purpose in life. I can know what makes you happy. And that's going to generate a care plan that's going to be a lot different than someone at end stage dementia, and we're just providing care only. We like purposeful living. We like getting to know that purpose. That's a positive approach when you get to know the person, as an individual. Still trying to give you sneak peeks into positive approach. Any questions at all about anything I've talked about? I know it's a lot. I don't want to just.
Can you tell me, how do you categorize each person in their stages of memory? How you mentioned the diamond, the pearl, is that objective criteria? How does that listed, or how do you guys kind of track that?
We all know what the MOCA is. And there's several ways that, you know, people have staged dementia, and it becomes very confusing. In California, we have a Highgate community, and it's interesting. They use two different types, and on one, there's a scale of 1 to 10, and then the scale is 10 to 1. So the person that came in was very confused, because the doctor's like, oh, your mom's an 8, which was a bad thing. But then she went to a neuro doctor, and he gauged it differently to where 1 was the later stages. So, you know, there's a lot of perspective that you have to talk about when you talk about how to stage someone with dementia. We have the gem state module. This is, you can have this. Well, Josh has got it. I'm sorry, Autumn. You know, we have several of these, and Josh will hand them out, because a lot of people have asked that exact same question, Tiffany. And all it is 6 gems, because again, we go by color and clarity, and that's why I like gems. They're very distinct. They're very unique. And dementia is a very unique disease. I cannot tell you, and I think you all know this already, we get asked all the time, mom was diagnosed with dementia. What's going to happen? I don't know. You know, your best bet's to take a deck of cards and throw it on the table and pick one. You know, I can tell you that, I can tell you what might happen next. I can tell you that we have techniques that kind of holds it in a holding pattern. We know what advances it. So we know that, you know, overstimulation is wrong, but the right stimulation is right. You know, we know that UTIs will progress, so we try to make sure we hydrate very well. But what you asked was about the gems. So the gems, again, are 6. Sapphire is the stage that probably most of us are in right now. That is a healthy brain. They use sapphire because it is true blue. It's true. We know our surroundings. We understand what's going on. It's the normal aging of the brain. We have a whole seminar also that talks about normal aging versus not normal aging. I mean, the brain can only hold so many things. That's why when you're at home and you're working and the kids are talking and the TV is playing and you walk into a room and you're like, why'd I come into this room? That's normal, because you can step back and kind of reenact it and go, okay, I wanted a glass of water. That's why I'm in this room. So there's a whole thing about normal aging versus not normal aging. The sapphire is flexible, we're adaptable, and you can go in between stages. You know, I often use diamond is the next stage. So diamond is still clear and sharp. If you're a diamond in dementia, you're still clear and sharp, but you have many facets about you. A diamond lives by routine. And you'll often hear anyone that talks about dementia, that a dementia patient thrives on routine. You just don't want to break that routine. You're probably going to throw them off a little bit. In a diamond stage, you like familiarity, but you dislike change. You usually blame and usually dismiss errors. But sometimes I can tell you as an example, I can be a sapphire all day long, but when I argue with my spouse, I can become a diamond very quick because I can cut and I can shine. So I become a little bit more standoffish as a diamond. And then you go through all of, like I said, I can go through all these. Emerald, which is green. You've seen, a lot of you have seen emeralds. Emeralds are the ones that have a purpose. They're going somewhere. They're your walkers in the communities. They are walking and they're saying, I've got to get here. This is where I'm going. That's your emerald stage dementia. And it goes on with they seek independence and they seek connections. Ambers are the orange. They're caught in a moment of time. Rubies, they retain strength and skills. That's part of, and then you go into the pearl stage, which they're hidden in that shell. We know they're there, but they're inside of themselves. Tiffany, how we gauge somebody, honestly, is just listening to the families about their daily routine, listening to the person who has dementia, observing. And then it's just those casual upfront conversations. And every day, our whole team is trained on the GEMS and positive approach to care. So it might be a care partner that comes up to our nurse and says, Josh is acting a little bit more like a Ruby today. We might want to really look at some things in our approach with him, because with each different stage, you have to know your approach. So it really is just a progression of getting to know the person and their routine and what works and what doesn't work, to answer your question best, Tiffany. Anybody else have a question?
Hi, Shelley. This is Autumn. Hi. I was curious about how you guys support like resident to resident interactions, and also kind of just activities and that you do for residents, especially right now during COVID.
That's a very good question. Resident activities, and you know this, music is the baseline to everything. There's always music playing. Like I said, I refer to the cottage because that's our memory care. There's always music playing in the cottage, and the essential oils. The diffuser sets a real tone for calmness. And then you've got a color scheme. It's very interesting that we've even researched what colors work correctly for the dementia patient. Yeah, you're shaking your head because they're the archways to each different room in memory care are a different color. And instead of using numbers for like, oh, Margaret, you live in a suite 201. Margaret, you live in the room that has the rainbow on the door. So there's a lot of pictures associated with. So interaction, it's again, it really is just getting to know the person. Mike was a resident at Highgate Temecula and never wanted to interact with anybody, just wanted to be left alone. And we sat down with his wife, Linda, and I just asked her, what is his purpose? What gave Mike purpose? He owned a trike shop. He built trikes his whole life. He always worked on motorcycles. And then she told me something that really resonated. And he always listened to Jim Morrison. Really? So the next time I saw Mike, we had purchased an appropriate toolkit for him. I walked in there and I opened it up. I got my phone out and I played Jim Morrison, and oh my word, that his face, it still brings tears to my eyes. He turned and looked at me. No verbal, because you know that, Autumn, no verbal. He looked at me with such sunshine on his face, such purpose, sat next to me and just started fiddling with all the nuts and the bolts and the screws. And it was funny because at that point, he then associated me for some reason for working with him. Every time I entered the cottage, because he was a foreman, this was his shop, right? He would come up to me and just whisper in my ear. And it was usually inappropriate, but he would say something like, you know, that one guy working the line, he's no good, we're going to fire him. And he would usually have some kind of, but so just interacting, you know, it can be one-on-one, it can be group. Again, but it's individualized. You've got to know your resident and what's right. We had an emerald at one of our communities, and that's on the go. And she literally, that was her purpose. She was safe. She still had her boundaries intact. She knew that if she was going to cross the street to watch the light. She knew that if she was going to walk over to the local grocery store, that stay on the sidewalk. She knew all these things, but she wanted to go. We actually had a care partner walk with her, and they walked like 10 miles a day. But that's what we did. We just brought in another care partner and said, okay, let's do this. And she did. She walked. That was her purpose. The more group activities, and in the face of COVID, yeah, I've walked through many of our memory cares, and yeah, it's a constant reminder the mask has got to go up, or you've got to do this. So we've tried to make them more what we call intimate. We've tried to associate who gets along with who has the same purpose. So, you know, a couple of the ladies really enjoyed sitting out in the courtyard and having their morning coffee. So that became, how can we make this a purposeful event? So while they were having their morning coffee, maybe we would talk about a social event, or maybe we would work in the standing garden that day or something. You know, purposeful living is something that we talk about a lot. And Autumn, you know, and again, I keep on referring to you because I didn't know you were from the Peak, so I know that you've got a real good understanding of what I'm talking about. People will come in and say, oh, I love to knit. Isn't that a big deal? Is that on your activities calendar? I'm like, no, you know, it's not. But let's make it purposeful. Let's knit for, you know what? Let's knit for baby blankets and deliver them to the hospital. That's the key difference. Then it becomes purposeful. You're not part of a knitting group. You're knitting for purpose. So that's what we try to do. And I don't know if I answered your question completely, but yes, we've had to break down our groups into smaller, intimate groups and practice the CDC guidelines as best as we can.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. May I ask you your role at the Peaks?
Yes, and in fact, that kind of is partnered with another question I have for you. I'm the director of spiritual care here. And so I was kind of curious as well, just about different kind of how Highgate supports the spirit of their residents.
That's a great question. That's a great question. So when you say spiritual, you're not meaning religious then. You're actually meaning holistic mind, body, spirit?
I'm thinking either or. I know here some of our residents, I think of their spirit in a religious context, and some think of it more holistic.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, with Highgate, yeah, we're holistic. So, I mean, actually, it's in our holistic approach, talking about the mind, body, and the spirit. So, yeah, you're right on with that. The religious part is easy. We just offer anybody that wants to come in, any denomination, you know, yeah, you're more than welcome. And then we let the residents know that, hey, this denomination is going to be here this week. So that part's very easy. Feeding the mind, body, and soul is something that actually touches me very deeply. I believe in chakras. I believe in Reiki. I believe that I've got to align myself with the universe every day before I go out and interact with anybody else. That's my belief. I'm not going to push it off on anyone else. So again, Josh knows, I refer to Josh because, yeah, he's for Highgate or Flagstaff. He knows that when someone decides to move into Highgate, that we want to not be the experience, we want to encompass them into our experience. So what is important to you? And I guess the best way to describe that is people, and you know this, people will say, what's your activities calendar? I want to see it. And so I'll show it to them and say, but what do you want to see? Because you're going to write this activities calendar, and that's not unheard of. So if someone would come up and say, you know, I practice the chakras and I want to do Reiki once a day, then we're going to do meditation once a day. And in the beginning, if it's just, you know, one person in that group activity and that's feeding their spirit, then so be it. But if that enlightens somebody else and it becomes purposeful for more, or maybe even gives them the purpose. I have had people that have found, and you know this, that have found their purpose when they go to assisted living because we're that open. I had a lady, she came up to me and she said, I want a suite and I want it to be at the end of the hall and I want it to be away from everybody. I'm like, well, aren't you just the Scrooge? I said, what, can you tell me why? I'd like to know. She said, because all I do is read books. I love to read books. That's you talk about purpose, that's my purpose. I thought, okay, we'll do that. She became the president of our book club in Temecula. So, you know, it was her driving purpose. It fed her spirit. So I hope I answered that appropriately for you.
Yes, thank you.
You're very welcome. Anybody else? Because this is where I thrive. I don't like talking. I do like to talk a lot. I shouldn't say that. I just don't like talking at. I really do like talking with. Anybody else have a question? Then I have one. I did go to the your website. I am not a native Arizona person. Can you tell from the accent when I say toilet or washcloth? I mean, I am from Kentucky. But when I looked up on your website who you all were, I was highly impressed that you were using the words, we're a resource, we're an outreach. That speaks volumes to me. I love that. Josh and I's goal coming on here today is never to sell Highgate. You know, I can tell you right now, we're not going to be everybody's fit. They're going to come to us and they're going to talk about, you know, okay, mom needs assisted living, and that's great. But you know what? There's a lot of choices out there. And I'm just going to tell you what we do. This is how we do it. If it fits your lifestyle, if it's something that you like, great. If it doesn't, then I can tell you that Josh has met with just about every community in Flagstaff. And we're going to say, you know what? Maybe this is, maybe this is what you can do. But we just want to be that resource. Yes, we have support groups. Yes, we're going to start up educational series, and that's our backbone. We love taking care of seniors. That's the fun part. But our purpose is education and support. I'm trying to end on really good words so you'll all be all impressed, but but nobody's saying anything. So what else can I talk about? Is anything else piqued your interest or?
Shelley, this is Judy with Lynn Care. I was wondering if you could give us some more details about the Flagstaff Highgate, how many beds like you have for assisted living versus memory, and when you're looking to open.
Yeah, I'm going to be really careful with this question because, again, I do not want to sell Highgate. I just want to be a resource. So good Lord, Josh, if you will open up your mic, I'm going to let you field that question. How many memory care, how many assisted living, when we're looking to open and all that good stuff.
All right. Hi, everyone. So we have 31 in our memory support, which we call our cottage. We don't like using the word memory support as we feel it's almost demeaning to the residents. So you'll hear words like cottage, and then manor is our AL, which we have 60 suites there. And we have different suites ranging from small studios, medium studios, large studios. The same goes for 1 bedrooms and the same goes for 2 bedrooms.
Looking to open, it says all of our signage, it says spring. We're hoping for an April opening date. They're doing really good. I was surprised. Again, I'm not from Arizona and definitely not from Flagstaff. Josh is. When they broke ground, the rock, they hit feet and feet of rock. And I thought that was going to set us back, but fortunately, they're on target. So real happy there. Does that answer your question, Judy? Or
Sorry about that. Yeah, because as I was promoting your this event this month, some people are asking me for some of those details. So I just wanted to have the information correct. Thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
We've got a question here from Matt. It says, a lot of patients want to stay at home, though they may not be able to. What is a good way to let them know the benefits for them?
Well, again, it has to be, it's very individualized. This is where I say to people, I have a gentle conversation with anybody that comes in. I can tell you that someone, I want to stay home. I get that. No one woke up today and said, woohoo, I'm moving into assisted living. I can't freaking wait. No person has ever said that. Okay. So it's a conversation, why did you come in today? What prompted you to come in today? Maybe you took a fall, maybe you mismanaged your meds, whatever. This is where I talk about, that's at the foundation of everybody. The Peaks, the Bluffs, Highgate, we all want to take care of you. And we all have our different ways of doing that. And you have to get that style to match. If you tell me that, I don't want to leave home, I'm going to ask you, what does home mean to you? What is it about that? Well, it's because my kids were raised here. My grandkids still come over, et cetera, et cetera. I can try to match that and say, your grandkids can still stay with you. We have private dining. You can still have your Sunday dinners every Sunday in our private dining. That's fine. I can feature you to death. We all can do that. But at the end of the day, I am always going to challenge you. Is it, this is my technique. Sometimes I've said, what, has your last 3 or 4 decisions been good ones? Can you still function in the home? Okay. Are the stairs a barrier? I have a split level home. I can tell you that it's probably not going to be the home that I retire in because the stairs already I've identified are too steep. I don't like them, So there's things that we have to talk about. And then what makes you comfortable? A lot of people have private caregivers, and a lot of times they're like, I've known my caregiver for 5-10 years. That's a bond. That's a relationship. So at Highgate, we tell you, then we don't have to give you care. Just negate it. Just move in because you like the safety and the environment, but bring your own caregiver with you. It's all about, again, just having that conversation. What's important to you? And I get it that there's certain things about your home that we cannot match. But right now I can tell you, and I'm thinking of my mother. My mom lives in Mesa and she's in her 80s. And I call her the waiting game because she's so afraid of COVID. She's ordering her groceries and every day she's waiting on something to happen. She's waiting on her care person to come in. She's waiting on her groceries to be delivered. She's waiting for Wheel of Fortune to come on at 5 o'clock because that's her favorite show. So where is her purpose? It scares me to death. I love my mom. I love my mother. She was very active before COVID. And this is probably the first time in my life I've ever had a conversation with her. She's a snowbird. She goes back to Kentucky and then she comes to Mesa. She's very active. She every year she takes a 4-month vacation because she's that active. She wants to see things. But this is the first year that I've said, Mom, you're waiting. You're deteriorating and you're waiting. So I would tell somebody right now, it's a good time because, let's stop waiting. Let's start engaging with people. Let's start, living life again. Because COVID, you all know, I hate to get really serious, but it has changed the face of everything, and senior care got a bad rap. Oh, don't go there. You're going to get, something's going to happen. That's not true. Autumn's shaking her head because she knows we've had to adapt. We've had to say, how can we still function in a very safe environment? So I would challenge you that if you were home right now, it's probably a waiting game for you too. You're waiting for your daughter to come over. You're waiting for your son to pick up that. My mom waited on me to come down for the weekend to lift up her 5-gallon water dispenser thing. She waited for that. That broke my heart. So let's stop waiting. Let's make a decision that, home is just truly where you hang your hat. So hang your hat with me. you know?
Hi, Shelley. I'm Will with the Peak Senior Living, Director of
Will.
Community Relations. I had a question pertaining to your family style dining. Is that just in the cottage or is that throughout the entire building?
Family style dining is cottage. Yeah, it's almost like a restaurant style in the manner. You know, you get a menu, you have a waitress, et cetera, et cetera. In the cottage with memory impairment, we've found that the visualization of seeing the food, you know what, that looks appealing, that looks good. A menu in the cottage becomes kind of confusing.
Right.
And then of course you get the, and you know this being in your position. And then when you offer either or, would you like soup or fish? What's that do with the families? You're not giving us any options. So that's why we decided we're going to do the family style dining. And I can tell you, not everyone sits down. I'm not going to lie to you. Josh knows I'm a very transparent person. What works more actually is our finger foods, because it's the drive-by eating. Memory care people are on the go. They are doing, so if we can get behind them really quick and say, eat this, try this, drink this, you know, we're being successful because again, hydration and nutrition goes with better, you know, brain health. So we're constantly trying, good heavens, most of our activities in the cottage always support that we're going to have some kind of hydration or some kind of finger food, because we're constantly trying to get those nutrients into their body. So yes, we only do family style in the cottage.
Could you kind of give me a visual on what that looks like? Do you just put the meal in the middle of the table? And then, you know what I mean, everyone serves themselves? Does someone serve them?
No, we have what we call preferred care partners. Preferred care partners mean you have the same care partners all the time. So you get to know them very well. Even if you live in the manor and you're on the second floor and all of a sudden you decide, I want to go to the north side and be on the first floor, but boy, I really like Shelley. She's a pretty cool gal. Then I go with you. So we have preferred partners. So we actually encourage the care partners to sit down and have meals with the cottage residents. And again, that becomes the mimic. I'm taking the mashed potatoes and now I'm going to pass them to you. And because I've taken them, because like I said, the first indication I tell families all the time, if you're taking mom out and she's ordering what you're ordering and she's ordering the special, it's because she's confused and she doesn't know what to order. So again, we're using that visual positive approach to care. I'm putting this on my plate because it looks appealing to me. And now I'm going to pass it along to you. And I know what you're probably thinking too. A lot of people in the cottage, you know, we have to help. We have to assist with feeding. That goes along again with positive approach to care. We do the hand under hand approach, and I can't do it on the Zoom, but there are things called skill fingers and strength fingers. These are my skill fingers. These are the fingers I use to brush my teeth, to lift my fork up, to do the things that I do, comb my hair. My strength fingers are used to open that jar or to twist off a bottle cap. The hand under hand approach, which is positive approach to care, allows me, if I had someone here, I could use it, to have my skill fingers. So when I start to feed a resident or to assist them, and remember we talked about right side being rhythm, okay? So if someone's to the point to where I'm feeding them in the cottage, I might be humming as well. I'm going to eat my lunch. I'm going to have a good lunch. We have found as we do this rhythmic motion, we can actually slip our hand away. Their skill fingers, it's almost like riding a bike. You never forget. We've had people that have been fed for years start feeding themselves, start brushing their own teeth. I mean, it's my purpose. That's why I do what I do. When I have those moments, I see, oh my word, I can call the family and say, do you know mom for 2 seconds today fed herself? That is a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Very welcome. How am I doing, Tiffany?
You're doing great. Is there any other questions that the group has?
Hey, Keegan, is your favorite word no?
If that was a question, I could not hear. I'm sorry.
That's my background of
Oh.
children trying to homeschool right now.
Oh, good luck with all of that.
This is the other end of the spectrum for COVID.
I had my grandkids for a couple of weeks, and yeah, that was always interesting to have my meetings and stuff. You know, I think we've only got a little bit of time left. You know, again, I just want to put out there that just like every other, you know, we're all here for the same reason. I want to help the senior population. I want to give purpose. I want to get excited. The senior population is my passion. My passion. Highgate is, we've been doing this for 25 years. We have 10 communities. We do not want to get big and be a powerhouse. That is not our goal. We just want to get it right. I told Josh when we built Flagstaff, the memory care suites have washers and dryers in them. And, you know, people, and that's new to us because every time we do a new build, we learn from our old build. And we found out in Highgate, Temecula, because that was our last build, people in memory care wanted to do their laundry. It gave them great purpose. My mom loves to do laundry. I didn't get that trait, by the way, just letting y'all know. My mom loves doing laundry. So we put the washers and dryers in the memory care suites, and we're getting a very good reaction. You know, we're getting a lot of ahas. Oh, so glad you have that. Mom loves to do her own laundry. So like I said, we're all in this together. And I loved it. Like I said, I looked at your website before I jumped on this call. I'm not trying yeah, I am. I'm getting a shameless plug. I want to be part of this. If I can do anything at all to be a part of this organization, please reach out to me because, yeah, I want to be there to help and to show support and to be a resource. That's my shameless plug. That's all I've got.
Well, thank you very much. And thank you to Highgate for presenting and giving information about their facility. I did not figure out the poll. I realized I have to do that before I make the meeting scheduled, and I added that feature after it, and it won't work with this one, but it'll work for the next ones. So what I'd like everyone to do that's still on, in the chat box, could you just write something down for me? What is one thing that you learned or that you are going to take away from this presentation today with you? And we can kind of look at those comments. Thank you, guys.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. So Tiffany, after I put my what I learned and my next step, do I just jump off? Are we done?
You are good. I'll hang on. Does everyone know how to use the chat box? I guess you should say that. So if you hover at the bottom and kind of move your mouse on the screen, you'll see a little icon that looks like a messaging, and that'll say chat. If you just click on that, it automatically defaults to show to everyone. And then you can just type something in.
Awesome. Then I'm going to jump off of here. Tiffany has my email. I am the corporate director of sales for Highgate, but again, I just live in Glendale, so I'm in Flagstaff a lot. Anything that you would need, if you want this, the GEM module, which has the positive approach to care, if you want that, just shoot me or Josh an email and we'll send them out to you, or we'll deliver to you, or whatever. Okay.
Actually, Shelley, can I just ask real quick, is that something that we can potentially put on the NASGO website?
I know it's copywritten because it's TIPA Snows. So let me get clarification before I say yes. But
Sure.
I'll make a note of that. Yes, that's a good question.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, I love that. I'm reading these. Do you mind, Tiffany, if I read, or you want me to quit getting nosy?
Go ahead.
I love the humming. You are so right. I have had people that have been in really bad moods, and you know, that's part of positive approach. You have to validate. You know, when you get somebody that goes, and I'm like, what? They're like, I'm so mad. I'm like, you are, I'll be mad too. What are we mad about? When you validate somebody, you know, that's so important. And memory care, you know, they're going through a lot. You know, don't minimize what they're going through in their mind. Like I said, because if you take everything's being taken away from you, you're going to hold on to everything that you can.
And on there was a question about a copy of the presentation. So our presentations are recorded and they're available on the website. If you're interested, then you can just click on our website. We'll have them listed and then you can watch.
Great, I'm being recorded.
Appreciation for the humming, benefits of singing and dancing for memory care residents, hearing about positive approaches to care and techniques, learning about skill fingers and strength fingers, comprehensive description, great, about care, PAC training. Perfect. Thank you guys. You have a great Thursday and we will see you
Thank
next
you,
month.
everyone.
All right. Bye.
Thanks, Tiffany. Thanks, Shelley.
Thank you very, very much.